welcome to another episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Our hosts, Sri Rajgopalan, Peter V.S. Bond, and Brian Gildenberg, explore how brands and retailers engage consumers in an increasingly digitally driven world. And now, here are the CPG Guys.
Welcome, folks, to this episode of the CPG Guys podcast. I'm, of course, Sri, one of your hosts on the educational and entertaining journey about consumer engagement in a digitally driven omnichannel world. Joining me right here in person is Mr. PVSB or Peter Bond. What's going on, Peter?
I know. I'm doing great.
Some point you would have reward, but not
we're like, we don't have an entire continent between us, Sri. We're like right here. I came out to the West Coast. You flew up from LA. Here we are in Seattle, recording this episode together. What a fun thing to do in the off season of baseball. And big news, Sri. What did we just find out as you were flying on an airplane this morning? Who is returning next year to the New York Yankees?
All rise. The judge is here. $360 million, 9 years. Makes my day, though. It's a lot of money, but it makes my day.
I take a fraction of that.
Makes my day.
I know.
You know that this was a special year for me. I went to the Yankees homecoming dinner. I have a ball signed by the man himself.
Oh, you do?
I got to spend 5 minutes with the guy, and it was awesome. And he seemed like a real human and very personable.
Well, it's going to be a great conversation day because we're back to our favorite topic, but we'll set that aside.
And to close that one out, there was 5 minutes of fear that the Dodgers may actually steal him, but they didn't.
I was more worried the Giants would get him. That would have horrified me. I'd rather him stay with the Yankees than go to the Bay Area.
Pitchers and catchers.
Less
than 90 days. Less than 90 days. Well, thank you, Peter. But before we get to our guests, let me remind our audience that all of our content can be found by visiting cpgguys.com. We have a brand new website with all sorts of rich content, including a merch store that y'all asked us for.
People have been buying from the merch store.
Somebody's buying a t-shirt.
Yeah.
This is comical.
I know. I love that.
And especially with our logo, with our faces on it.
I know.
I don't know who wants it.
My daughter's the only one I think who likes our free, and she likes yours more than mine.
Probably making doodles on top.
She's like, she looks and she always points at Shri first, not Daddy, Shri.
So if you aren't already following us on LinkedIn, please do so, because you will join 18,000 plus other industry professionals on an entertaining educational journey here on the CPG Guys. Also, we manage 2 closed groups on LinkedIn, CPG Commerce and Retail Media Professionals. There's already over 2,000 professionals in those groups. Please consider doing so yourself. Easy way, just ask to be added to the group and boom, we will let you in. And of course, you do have to contribute. We're also on other social media platforms now, including Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Here goes the clock.
I think the state of Michigan has told us we have to get off TikTok. I don't know what's going on. There's a whole brouhaha going.
We got 49 plus other states to go,
okay,
so we're in good shape.
We're good.
Check out our series on Knowledge Drops, which is intended to be a fun way to learn about our industry. Remember to check out FMCG Guys, hosted by our friends Daniel and Efrain. They take the CPG Guys podcast format across the pond and speak to retail and FMCG luminaries from a European perspective. All you got to do is visit fmcgguys.com. Check out the latest addition to our family, the CPG Scoop, hosted by Jen and Risa. They conduct snackable conversations with industry veterans. It's a fun way to discover what's new and next in CPG commerce marketing. All you got to do is visit cpgscoop.com to learn more. And of course, we have a new additions, including CPG Bites by Sean Halter on Mondays and Tech Talk by Eric Martel and Alex Weiler from Bear Commerce on Saturdays. We're proud to partner with Next Up, a.k.a. the network of executive women whose mission it is to advance all women in business and to promote the cause of gender equality and career development. Visit nextupisnow.org/CPG Guys. We got our own page.
We've got a landing page.
Well, we third party.
The CPG Guys have a landing page.
Visit nextupisnow.org/CPG Guys to learn more about this great group. As a reminder, we'll be giving away and sponsoring 50 membership for female leaders if your organization is already not a part of Next Up to the network in 2023. That's Peter and my way of giving back, and we look forward to it. More to come in January as to how to sign up and be a part of Next Up under our sponsorship. We're back exploring our favorite topic today. What's the word?
Baseball?
That's sports.
Oh, this is retail media.
Retail media. And of course, we do main retail media. And,
you know what we love doing here? We love talking about new retail media platforms.
Absolutely. Our guest today is a tenured retail professional who's been kind enough to come out to the CPG Guys podcast. He has the role of Vice President, Head of E-commerce Merchandising at AD Retail Media at Peapod Digital Labs. AD, of course, is part of the Ahold USA family, one of the world's largest retail groups. He's overseeing a robust portfolio of omnichannel advertising services powered by AD Retail Media at Peapod Digital Labs. Customer data, real-time shopping trends, and proven, I use the word proven, merchandising and marketing expertise. That's what a career in retail does for you. Here to speak with us about how brands can leverage their best-in-class marketing and merchandising services to help them identify, craft, and execute insights-driven omnichannel campaigns that map back to specific goals and objectives is the leader in the space, Mr. Bobby Watts himself. Bobby, welcome to the CPG Guys podcast.
Hey, Sri, Peter. Thank you guys so much for having me. Looking forward to the discussion.
Before we get to the questions Peter and I have carefully prepared for our conversation, Bobby, would you mind providing our audience with a brief overview of AD Retail Media at Peapod Digital Labs as a company and your role in your specific role there?
Yeah, happy to share, Sri. So I lead AD Retail Media as our lead of AD Retail Media. I also have responsibility of e-commerce merchandising, all within Peapod Digital Labs. And what AD Retail Media does is it helps our advertising partners reach the consumers of the brands of AD USA through on-site display, sponsored search, what we call standard off-site, premium off-site, digital out-of-home, and all of our at-store media offerings as well. And I'm really excited. On January 3rd of 2023, we're actually going to launch a unified on-site, off-site platform with Citrus Ad powered by Epsilon.
Thank you for that, Bobby. We'll include links to your LinkedIn profile and the ADUSA Retail Media details in the digital liner notes of this podcast, folks. And so let's get ready to rumble. And I will kick off the first question. Peter and I will take turns. So here we go. Bobby, we just said you have a great career in retail, which spans both brick and mortar and the digital world, from category management and merchandising to e-commerce and digital leadership at Peapod Digital Labs today. Take us through your career journey or transition, Bobby. I deeply believe to be successful in the omnichannel world, you need brick and mortar first and an anchor as you develop into the e-commerce world.
Yeah, Sri, I have to say, I've been very blessed to work for such an amazing organization as Ahold Delhaize, and they've given me the opportunity to learn and grow as much as I have. I mean, and to your point, I mean, I've worked in operations, I've worked in category management. Most of that was all traditional brick and mortar. I worked in merchandising planning, sourcing, and then I got the opportunity to work in e-commerce merchandising and bring all that, that experience I had there into learning about e-commerce and connecting the two. And then most recently, I've been given the opportunity to lead the transformation of our AD Retail Media network in the U.S. And each of these experiences, I would say, have helped me better understand what it means to reach consumers along that full path to purchase.
And Bobby, just a quick follow-up question to that, an easy one for you here is, I, of course, come from the brick and mortar world originally and then had to develop my way into the omnichannel world. How did you find that transition of leaning in on some of those, especially when you talk about online merchandising? It is actually not the same as in-store, whereas they do intersect.
Yeah, so I think for me, at the end of the day, I always put the consumer first, Sri, and then it was always about leveraging the data to make those decisions. When it came to merchandising things on site or even merchandising things in store, you were really just trying to understand the consumers and how they were going to, shop those goods and what was the best way to present those goods to them, to create inspiration, to create discoverability, to create better conversion. All those things. And brick and mortar helped me do that in that regard and bring those expertise into the e-commerce world.
Hey, Bobby, welcome to the podcast. We're really excited to have you here today and to showcase your retail media network to our audience, which just seems to hunger for knowing what's new, what's great, what's capable, how can they engage with shoppers. So I think it's undeniable that today's omni-channel world is truly shopper focused. I'd like to understand, what does that mean to you, and how do you connect the dots from the traditional physical shelf to the digital shelf in the omni-channel world?
Omni-channel, Peter? I haven't heard that. I mean, seriously though, seriously. So, yeah, omni-channel is at the center of everything we do. It's a crazy buzzword in the industry, but my team and I are extremely connected to the category merchandising and shopper teams across all of the brands of AD USA. So our aspiration is for the merchant and shopper teams to see our capabilities within the retail media network as an additional tool, if you will, in their toolkit to drive category strategies, to drive consumer behavior. Because for us, we see a world where we work in unison with these teams to develop a kind of what I would say a holistic go-to-market plan that incorporates in-store display, print, digital, bringing it all together to amplify the plans that they develop in order, with their CPG partners in order the best way to reach our consumers.
And therefore, Bobby, if omnichannel is the future, and that's how things are getting built out, what are the most important capabilities to develop this space out? And what are, therefore, you focused on at Peapod Digital Labs, AD Retail Media, and e-commerce merchandising?
Yeah, I mean, Sri, there's a lot of capabilities that are important in this space. And so it's difficult to pick out maybe one or two. But I would say one of the most important, in my opinion, personally, is measurement. There's a lot of variations across the retail media landscape and how folks calculate ROAS, how we define performance. But I believe we need standardization across the industry in this regard. And we need to remember that not every campaign has the same mission or definition of success and how we activate, change or activate consumer behavior. But for me, like it's really like making sure that we understand what's the ongoing mission and then making sure that we're measuring success in the right way. And hopefully we get to a way to do that standardized across, the industry. The other thing I would say is, with so many retail media networks popping up across the landscape here, complexity is going to start to arise for some of our advertising partners. And for us at ADUSA, we want to make sure that we have the easiest way to activate across all the brands of ADUSA. And so you heard me talk about at the beginning, one of the ways we're going to do that is we're going to launch with a unified on-site, off-site platform through our partnership with CitrusAd powered by Epsilon. But it's more than that for me. We have to continue to find ways to bring together our ad tech ecosystem in a way that creates ease of use and ease of activation across wherever folks want to advertise to our consumers.
I think, Bobby, the issue in the industry is retail media blossomed from did not exist to very mature, and everybody's got one, and for obvious reasons, because it's an omni-channel world. And that's why the standardization of the metrics and the measurement didn't happen. Like, most people still use the word ROAS, but as you know, Bobby, that means something different to each person. I personally, for a while, championed iROAS, but I think the most important metric in my head, Bobby, is brand objectives. If we treat it as a ROAS mechanism of any sort, including iROAS, it becomes lower funnel activation, and then we're going back to display in store. Versus if the brand objective is truly to acquire a new consumer, there should be a way to measure that, and that's how campaigns should be run on digital media. Like, treat it like true media. Any thoughts on that one?
100% aligned with you, Sri. I think for me, it's iROAS is the new buzzword on top of omnichannel, right? Let's if we think about the buzzwords that are in the market right now, and almost every CPG that I speak to, they're asking about iROAS. What's our methodology? How are we calculating it? And I have to remind folks, like, yes, we have a methodology. Yes, we can bring that to bear. But at the same time, what are you trying to achieve? What's your mission? And let's build an offer around that. And then we can measure whether we hit that objective or not based on the mission or the consumer that you're trying to reach or the consumer behavior you're trying to change.
Yeah, I think Sri and I are aligned that brand level campaigns and what you're trying to achieve for those is probably a lot more important than some arching, overreaching objective for an entire portfolio that it's really hard to discern when you're trying to execute in retail media. Thinking about it from a campaign level, you can focus on the outcomes that you want to get. So, Bobby, my next question to you is, Sri and I are always having this eternal conversation on home delivery versus click and collect, right? Which one, I guess what we'd like to know from you is, coming out of the pandemic phase of the last couple of years, which one is still growing? Which one makes sense for you as a retailer, maybe from a banner level, maybe from a geographic level, and most importantly, from the standpoint of your customers? How are you thinking about these two e-commerce related mechanisms for shopping outside of walking into a physical store and pulling all the products yourself?
Yeah, great question, Peter. I think the answer could vary by retailer, by geography, as you mentioned. I think for me, however, thinking specifically about grocery and the grocery space, I see both continuing to grow as long as retailers can keep up with some of the consumer demand. And what I mean by that is delivery continues to be about speed and ease for the consumer. So if retailers can meet consumers' demand for faster, more immediate delivery, then I think folks will continue to see success in that channel. Click and collect also, though, right? I think it's a viable channel. I think that channel continues to offer convenience for folks that are looking for full store assortment, but looking for ease to be able to swing by and pick that up and at their, at the time they choose and when it's most convenient for them. And so it's not I won't say a non-answer, but for me, I see both. And for us, I think we would, as a retailer, would prefer to see the click and collect channel continue to grow and outpace delivery because as you know, everyone is looking for ways to find ways to improve e-commerce profitability, and click and collect is by far a more profitable channel than delivery.
Yeah, so to that end, I guess the question is, Bobby, do you see coming out of the pandemic related to customers who are interested in home delivery that they're willing to pay the premium over click and collect in order to get that? Do you see that that shift is occurring where they're saying, okay, I'm willing, I don't expect free delivery and I don't expect to pay whatever the fee is that's comparable to click and collect. It comes with a premium associated.
Yeah, I think, I think retailers for click and collect are going to have to continue to have a strong CVP. Free click and collect pickup, that's going to have to be the CVP I think consumers want. For delivery, though, to your point, Peter, they definitely are willing to pay the premium. And as you can think about same day, as we're looking at same day at scale and immediate delivery, those folks are also willing to pay a premium because speed is what's most important to them. And they know that doesn't come for free.
Let me remind our audience that we are speaking along with Peter here to Bobb Watts, Vice President of AD Retail Media and E-commerce Merchandising at Peapod Digital Labs. Thank you for joining us again, Bobby. So I'm going to jump a little bit into technology. The last 2 years, we referred to some buzzwords. Peter and I would call them buzzwords as well. Omnichannel, one of them. When you truly decompose it, it starts making sense. But up top, it's a buzzword. The other 2 or 3 in the industry that's become very hot is artificial intelligence, also known as AI, machine learning, known as ML, and automation, robotics, things of that nature. What is the role in your life for what you do as an e-commerce merchandiser, retail media, et cetera, of these things for the digital e-commerce evolution that you're a part of?
Yeah, great question again, Sri. For me, these are interesting times where, as a retailer, we have very rich data on our consumer shopping behavior, and we can even add to that data, with other third-party data that we can bring into kind of the purview there to better understand our consumers and even start to draw some contextual understanding of what the consumer might be looking for based on like audiences. But for us, we believe leveraging that data with our in-house algorithms to ensure that our media that we're delivering, whether it's on-site or with our partnership with Epsilon using things or LiveRamp Safe Haven with Core Ramp ID, all of these things for us, leveraging our first-party data, leveraging algorithms, leveraging what we call Customer 360, our proprietary segmentation, really allows us to deliver personalized media to consumers that will drive higher engagement, higher conversion. And then at the end of the day, if we go back to the conversation we're having a moment ago and what that does in the way of whether it's return on ad spend, iROAS, or whatever the mission is, personalization is going to be extremely key, and even hyper-personalization to making sure that media is part of the experience. It's natural to the consumer. It's not disruptive, and really leads to, again, a higher conversion or a better growth in sales, as we would expect to see from advertising. That's what the mission is sometimes, is about driving sales. So
thanks for that, Bobby. So I want to get a better understanding of best-in-class partnership with Peapod Digital Labs and your retail media network. What constitutes a best-in-class partner, and how are they leaning in with you in terms of investing against your platform, be it on-site or off-site? Like, what does best-in-class look like to win in terms of engaging AD customers?
Yeah, so I would say, best-in-class partner for the brands of AD USA is someone that collaborates with the brands as well as our AD Retail Media offering to bring full omnichannel programs and solutions to our consumers. If you think about the partner, they really should provide insights around consumer shopping behavior, not only in brick and mortar, well, that's still a large portion of our business, but we also want to understand what insights a CPG partner may have around the consumer and how they're shopping through e-commerce or what other channels they may be. And really bringing category trends where things are emerging. And I'd say even on top of that, just making sure that they're supporting a lot of the brand programs and initiatives. I think in addition, Peter, I would say, as it relates to AD Retail Media specifically, I'm looking for our best partners to test and learn with us. So there's always new things coming. There's some things that are going to be great. They're going to be home runs, and they're going to be things that just fall flat. But looking for folks that test and learn with us, take some risk. We celebrate the things that work well. We course correct when things don't work well. I think that's going to be great. And then I would say also, we want partners who help us understand what we can do to have a seat at the table as they're planning their national media budgets. As being an East Coast retailer, not always do folks see us as they're sitting down thinking about their national allocations or their national budgets for media. But we really think that we've earned our right to sit there and be a part of those discussions based on a lot of the new capabilities we're bringing in 2023.
Bobby, I think what you said about testing and learning, it resonates with us particularly because you're not setting an expectation from a brand investment. You're saying, let's try a whole bunch of different things, and what works, we scale, and what doesn't, we let it fail fast and we move on to the next. So I think that is the best way for brands to be able to engage with your platform.
Yeah. Can't debate that one.
No.
It truly.
Well, you can, but you'd be foolish.
Fair enough. And I don't want to be foolish today.
No.
So not
you
with
can be
Bobby.
foolish tomorrow.
Not
you
with
can be
Bobby.
foolish tomorrow.
I nearly outguessed the Yankees once and was already foolish. So good thing that didn't happen. So let's come back to your leadership in this space, which is the connection between merchandising work that you do on the e-commerce side, the retail media work that you do, and the connection back to the in-store model. And how do you work with merchandisers in the store to make all this sing in harmony?
Yeah, it's a great question again, Sri. I'd say, I've been fortunate to have experience working with each of the ADUSA brand chief merchants and their merchandising teams. And so whether it was in my past life or in my current life, I have really strong relationships. And so when I took over responsibility of transforming our AD retail media team, it was really my desire to make sure that we build strong connectivity between the AD retail media team, but with both fresh and center store category teams. And so, in fact, as we stood up our new in-house team over the last several weeks, months, we've actually structured ourselves around category pods. And we was intentional in doing that because we wanted to ensure that our category teams had a single point of contact within the AD retail media organization. So they had questions around a program or a campaign that they were working on or a plan they were working on with a partner. They had a single thread into our AD retail media team to better understand what capabilities we have to support their initiatives. And I'd say for me, our belief is that this will enable stronger collaboration and better opportunities for the retail media team to support category growth strategies and also our CPG strategies. And then maybe finally, I would just offer that, as we've built out our robust training program, where we really are trying to build out a model that translates each of our capabilities into real-life use cases that our merchants can really see and understand and translate things into the way they think about their business. And so that the next time they're sitting down building a plan and they're thinking about whether it's innovation or if they're thinking about a promotional strategy or even shopper campaigns or programs, they see these digital capabilities that we have within AD retail media as another way to drive sales and share growth.
So, Bobby, I'll give us the last question for our conversation today, and we like to be a little future forward whenever we finish out a conversation. Looking forward the next couple of years, where given now all the capabilities that brands have to engage with AD customers through retail media, in-store, everything, where are you looking for your suppliers to kind of muscle up in terms of their capabilities to take advantage of all this?
Yeah, I don't know that it's a muscle up concept, but I would say just like the journey we're on at AD Retail Media towards simplicity, we would appreciate simplification from our partners too. And so to the extent that we're all able to engage seamlessly, move quickly, I think we all benefit when it comes from true omnichannel collaboration. So bringing the right people to the table in the conversations to make decisions, take actions is critical for us to making sure that we're building a holistic planning and collaboration as we build go-to-market strategies. But, as you guys know, we're looking outward to say how are our CPG partners structured and how are they bringing simplicity into the conversations with us.
I love that, Bobby. You started the answer to that by saying it's not exactly a muscle-up concept because it's not. It shouldn't be either for obvious reasons. Well, listening to you speak, Bobby, what's clear is, we have lots of people come on the show who talk about retail media, who talk about the e-commerce evolution. But when you talk to somebody who comes with the anchors brick and mortar and then truly gets into omnichannel, the answers become a little bit more clear.
I agree.
Some of the fundamentals are pretty well grounded, is what Peter and I believe.
Yep.
So let me remind our audience that you can find all of our content by simply going to cpgguys.com on our web browser. That's our URL. And you can, if you think your company has some thought leadership to contribute to our community discussion in the CPG industry and retail, all you got to do is drop us an email at contact@cpgguys.com, and maybe you can join us just like Bobby did on this podcast. Don't forget to drop us a rating at cpgguys.com on the navigation bar at the top of our website, cpgguys.com. My sincere thank you, along with Peter, to the 18,000 plus followers we have on LinkedIn. We know you make a giant difference to all of us, and you are the reason we do this show week after week after week, and hence I ask you for those ratings as well. Bobby, I can't thank you enough for joining us on the show and giving us the highlights of where you are and the company is in this space. We hope you'll come back as this thing develops at a later point in time.
Yeah, sweet, Peter. Thank you guys so much for having me, and absolutely, let's do it again soon.
And Mr. Bond, it's that time of the episode where, what did we learn here?
We learned a lot of things. One, that for AD and its retail media network, that omnichannel is at the center of everything they do. And certainly the customer is at the center of that. So when you're building out strategies, that you have to take the omnichannel in mind. It's not just online. It's not, because consumers in the end, they're hybrid shoppers. They don't shop just online or just in physical store. And there's a mixture of both, and different trip missions dictate different approaches to how they shop. So having a holistic go-to-market plan that incorporates display, print, digital together, that's really what they're trying to do. I also heard him say that when he talked about measurement in particular, how you calculate ROAS or iROAS is important, but really you have to be focused on what's the mission you're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely.
And if you try to do something at a total portfolio level, it's going to be pretty hard to pick up and measure the performance against that. You really have to be looking at it on a campaign by campaign basis to refine what your mission is, and then be able to say whether you actually were able to do it. In the debate over click and collect versus home delivery, it really depends upon who the customer is, the geographic region they're at, the banner that they're at. But the fact of the matter, for the retailer as it stands right now, click and collect is obviously a more profitable mechanism. And what I also hear is that the consumer's expectations on cost are starting to change, and that affords an opportunity to be able to charge a premium price for home delivery. And if they really want home delivery, then you can pay the price and you can get it. And we can work towards mechanisms that are truly reflective of the costs involved for the last mile of delivery, right?
Peter, in some way I feel when an option is given to a consumer between home delivery and click and collect, in many ways, they're getting a choice to put money back in their pocket that they otherwise would if they did a home delivery and paid a fee, whatever it is, $6.95, $9.95. Click and collect is a beautiful thing. I use it religiously myself, week over week.
Yeah. And then when we talk about AI, machine learning, automation, how does it play into their entire process? What I heard Bobby say is what really matters at the end of the day is, does it improve the customer experience? Does it make it a better shopping experience? And if it does, then it can fit naturally into the business that they're creating.
Are you saying AI is not IE?
I think there's a little bit more to it than just that. I think there's an importance also around building a strong connectivity between, AD, retail media network, and center store category teams, and creating a single thread to be able to connect a brand to AD and activate against it is the aspiration. And from the brand side, what they need to do in order to truly activate it against that is bring the right people to the table, right? Make sure that you're bringing all the resources that can activate against it, and that will ultimately lead to a better decision. The last thing I'll say is that it's not so much about asking brands looking forward to muscle up on a particular skill. really it's about, again, bringing the right people to the table, the right conversations, making the decisions, and build a meaningful go-to-market strategy, and figure out what your missions are, and work with AD, test and learn, fail fast, move on, and scale what works, and you'll be successful in engaging AD customers and growing your brand business.
Wow, that was one heck of a summary.
Power pack, one might say.
I think you covered 27 years that I have in the CPG industry in 4 minutes.
There you go.
That's a record for the CPG guys. So thank you. Pleasure doing this week over week with you.
Great to do it live together here.
Absolutely. And the mission remains the same, which is provide education in this fast-changing, transforming omnichannel world. So thank you for that, Peter. And we will see you soon on another episode of the CPG Guys.
The content in this podcast episode is provided for general informational purposes only. By listening to our episode, you understand that no information contained in this episode should be construed as advice from CPG Guys LLC or the individual author, hosts, or guests, nor is it intended to be a substitute for research on any subject matter. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by CPG Guys LLC. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The views expressed by CPG Guys LLC do not represent the views of their employers or the entity they represent. CPG Guys LLC expressly disclaims any and all liability or responsibility for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of, reference to, or inability to use this podcast or the information we present in this podcast.